Yo. What is the deal, cousins? What is the deal? It's your boy. We're back again. It's your boy Kenny with the Call Up Podcast, bringing you another conversations with Kenny. What a week so far in professional wrestling, and it's only Wednesday. Took a little vacation last week. Wasn't in town for Monday, but my man Toe show they held it down for us on the Monday Night Raw watch along. So I'm hoping that everyone had a really good time watching this. I did watch it while I was on the plane, and then I was just getting news while I was in flight to go back to New York. And I wanted to touch base a little bit about this. I let it marinate some time. You know how us Spanish people are. We like to stuff to marinate for a while and get all that juice, get all that flavor in there before we start to like really dig in to our meals. And we got Ashley in the house right now in the chat. We got my man Toe checking on me in the chat. We got Lay checking in the chat right now too. Hope all you guys can hear me perfectly well. We got Show in the chat right now. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Definitely talking about Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out on Monday Night Raw. It was speculated before that they were supposed to be a part of a 6-pack challenge. That ended up changing mid-show. There was reports that, Sasha Banks and Naomi, they like walked out on the show before the show started. They had an argument with Vince. They went to John Laurinaitis. They dropped the titles on the table. They said that they were leaving, and everybody is in an uproar. Of course, on social media, people calling them unprofessional. People saying that, Sasha Banks is being a crybaby about stuff, But at the end of the day, if it was somebody else who was a male, talent in this company that was to do the exact same thing, I think a lot of people in this business, especially a lot of fans, will probably be backing them or saying, good for them. But because it's a female, I'm seeing more of a negative aspect to everything that's going on. And then after reading the reports, of what's been going on through Fightful and through Wrestling Inc., I don't blame them for sitting there and standing up for themselves and saying, like, you know what, this is something that we need to work on. And I know myself, Toe, Lay, we've all said the same things. Gigi's been saying the same thing. Heel Liz has been saying the same thing. Everybody who's invested in women's wrestling all say the same thing when it comes to WWE. What is the point of having the tag team titles if they're not being defended? This is the same thing that we went through a couple of years ago, and we're kind of still going through that now when it comes to the male tag team division as well. WWE just doesn't care about their tag team division, and it shows. And Sasha Banks and Naomi had enough. We all said the same things. We were just like, what exactly is going on with the women's tag? And then you see more light coming in where they say, like, they don't have any storylines for them. And Sasha Banks, there was reported Sasha Banks and Naomi, went to creative and gave them ideas. And they all told them no. They said, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do this. It's more of you're holding on to the titles to make it look cute. So basically it's like them buying a bag at a department store and they're just walking around with these bags in their hands, looking cute for the audience while they're putting people over. So the original idea was, if some people, obviously everybody knows, was that Naomi was supposed to get the win and she was going to be the number one contender to Bianca Belair's Raw Women's title at Hell in a Cell. There were reports that within this match on Hell in a Cell that Bianca was going to retain her title, of course, because they're still trying to build Bianca Belair up. Perfectly fine. That's okay. It's understandable because you're still trying to build your champion up. What I do not get is when Sasha Banks and Naomi come to creative and say, hey, since I'm going to lose this match anyway, why don't we start up the feud with Dewdrop and Nikki and have them interfere in the match, which costs me the title match, which goes into a feud between the four women, and that can conclude more as weeks go on for Monday Night Raw. That can give us four matches right there because you have Dewdrop versus Sasha Banks or Naomi, or Nikki Ash versus Sasha Banks and Naomi. So that's giving you a couple of matches right there that can give you a couple of more storylines. Creative said no. Creative said we're gonna have Sasha Banks do something else. She's gonna fight um Ronda Rousey, which wasn't speculated whether or not it was going to be at Hell in a Cell, or it most likely it was supposed to be at Money in the Bank, because I believe Money in the Bank will be their next pay per view, moving into after Hell in a Cell. Creative said no. They even pitched the idea to have Dewdrop and Nikki show up to SmackDown. They X that as well. I just don't get what is going on when it comes to WWE and when it comes to like their creative team in a whole. As the days, as you know, today being Wednesday, I looked on Twitter, I looked on Instagram, and just the negativity when it comes to female talent is beyond me. You know, calling them very unprofessional. I'm still waiting to see them say that they're difficult to work with, because we all know and we all seen in the last year or two where they go and they say, "Oh, well, this person was difficult to work with," or "This person had heat in the back," and then you kind of find out once they leave the company that it really wasn't true. It was just something that WWE cooked up, or someone backstage cooked up in order to make this person look bad. And one of the things that I feel, that made that they tried to make these two ladies look bad was when they came out and said that both ladies um felt unsafe working with two of the competitors in the match. Now, if you don't remember who was in the match, for some people who are who are listening to this right now, if you're watching live or you're listening to the recording, it was Dewdrop, Nikki Ash, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Becky Lynch, and I believe Asuka as well. So it was, yeah, right. These two women have had multiple matches with half the women in this match. I don't believe that they've had too much interactions with Dewdrop and Nikki, but the simple fact is that Sasha Banks and Naomi came to creative and said, "This is what we want to do with the tag team division. This is what we want to do with Nikki and Dewdrop." Like, fathers my mind as far as like who do they feel was unsafe. These women have each other's numbers. It's just like when you go to work and your boss says something, or you hear something about a certain employee or whatever, and it gets back to other people, everybody starts talking. Or it's just like school, when you hear one rumor, you try to piece these things together until you can find out the actual truth. And I believe that at the end of the day, a lot of these women just picked up the phone and said, "Hey, um what the hell is going on?" And they kind of cleared things up on their end, because we didn't hear too much. We didn't hear anything else, once that had happened, you know. But I gotta give it up to Naomi, because a lot of people said that they were shocked that Naomi walked out and dropped her title on the table. I don't think she threw it. We've seen other people. There's video out there of other male talent actually throwing their titles to Vince, to John Laurinaitis, to other creative people in the back, and everybody just gives them that applause and said, "Great job." But the minute that these women go out there and say to themselves, "I am not putting up with this. I am going to, we're going to stand together and we're going to fight this," it's an issue. But major props to Naomi for sitting there and sticking by her girl and being united as one. Now, here's another thing. A lot of people are saying this is a work. If this is a work, right? Because I'm a wrestling fan just like everyone else. If you get worked, you get worked. That's completely fine. If this is a work, then congratulations WWE for finally entertaining us. Okay, and making us feel more invested in your company, because this has been the talk of the town since Monday, and it will continue on until Friday when they give us maybe just a little bit more information, and maybe we can find out a little bit more about Sasha Banks and Naomi's status when it comes to the company. Because from what I'm hearing right now, reading reports over at Fightful and Wrestling Inc., that Naomi and Sasha Banks have been taken off TV and live events all the way until July, which is kind of stupid because now you have two tag team champions that are pretty much sitting at home and you basically don't know what to do with them. I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Everybody thought Cody was a work too. Just putting that out there, which is true. And I'm going to get into Cody's, to some Cody thoughts right after this one. But it is true because everybody thought that, oh no, Cody Rhodes is not leaving AEW, and then kind of find out, you see down the line that he did leave AEW and went back to WWE. If I was WWE, I'll be really nervous because if you let someone go like Sasha Banks, you don't have to worry about her going to AEW. If I was the women at AEW, I would be nervous because you don't know what Sasha Banks or Naomi's next move is. Sasha Banks is bigger than wrestling. And I don't care what anybody else thinks, or people can send me messages and say that I am crazy, that I am smoking, that I am drunk, or whatever the case may be. But in your heart, and everybody else knows, and people in WWE know as well, that out of the four horsewomen that are there, Sasha Banks is the bigger star. And she's proven it time and time and time again. Sasha Banks is a part of the Disney family now. She is being requested on numerous shows. Okay. And she will continue to rise higher and higher in this industry. And soon enough, she will leave WWE. And then who would you have left? And then there's Naomi, who has not been used correctly, in my opinion, in WWE. And if she was to leave WWE and get picked up by another company, she would be a megastar. And I know we say that about a lot of people who get um released from WWE and say, hey, they wasn't used correctly. If you put them here, they're gonna be a star or whatever case may be. But Naomi has that star power, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, she has the if factor that's going to make her a big star, regardless if she wants to continue doing wrestling or if, say, she wants to pursue acting and be in Hollywood. Because guess what? There's a lot of acting roles for people of color that she can fit right into these roles and be completely fine. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen next in this story between Sasha Banks, Naomi, John Laurinaitis, and Vince McMahon. I know, like everyone else, I'm going to stay glued to this. This is why I wanted to come on here and talk about this. There were some other news that I wanted to talk about. Moving into Before I move into anything, let me go back and reading more of the chats. We have Dave over here that says, it's crazy that people have only been saying if X goes to Y, X will fit in perfectly for only 3 years, which is true because a lot of people have said if this person goes here, they're going to be a megastar. If this person comes to this company, they are going to stand out. And little by little, and I'm sorry to say, I love AEW. I'm gonna be on later tonight with Dave from the pro show to uh watch AEW Dynamite. But a lot of the times that the people that go into AEW, they came from WWE, are only red hot for about 2 months. We were all excited. I was super excited about Keith Lee coming into AEW, and he was red hot for what, a month, and then they sent him to Rampage, and then they put him with Swerve, who came in, and not for nothing, Swerve, the realist, has not been that red hot since he left WWE. Tony Nese has been the exact same way. The only person I can say who has been really like striving in AEW will probably, John Moxley, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, and FTR, right? For the most part. But and now everyone else, I haven't really seen them. Ruby Soho, haven't really seen her lately. She's right now, she is in the Owen Hart tournament. But where is that going to lead up to? Tony Storm, another person who's like in between. She just came into the company, so we really don't know what exactly is going to happen with her in the next couple of months. But I can't wait to see this. There was another thing that I was really thinking about, and I thought about it for a while. I posted it on the Instagram page. If you guys are not following, if you're watching this right now and you're kind of wondering what is he talking about, you can find me on Instagram at the Call Up Podcast. And I normally post different thoughts that I have now, and I post it on there, try to get people's opinions. And one of the things that I was thinking about is watching the last couple of weeks here since WrestleMania is WWE turning Cody Rhodes into the new John Cena? And I know me and Toe, we go back and forth when it comes to like John Cena and Hulk Hogan, but this is something that was on my mind. I wish that we could have talked about this on Monday. We'll probably most likely revisit this again at a later time and get his opinion on things here. But the more and more I see Cody Rhodes in WWE, the more and more I see them turning him into John Cena. Not the hustle, loyalty, and respect John Cena lays in the comments right now, throwing up the throw up emojis, so I know he's where he stands on this topic. But when John Cena was in the company and he was the never give up guy for WWE, he was everywhere. You will see him on multiple commercials. You will see him have his own segments where they literally will tell you the countdown is on for John Cena when he had the United States Open Challenge. Anytime they had something to do with media, pay-per-views, they would use John Cena. Since WrestleMania, we have seen Cody Rhodes everywhere in WWE. He was on the bump. He has done the commercial for Money in the Bank. He has done breaking news. He's posted about different events that are going on for WWE. Okay. And what sealed the deal for me was this past Monday, when they did a freaking countdown for Cody Rhodes, that he was going to have the top of the 10 o'clock hour of the broadcast to voice whatever it is he needed to say between him and Seth Rollins. I know they've said that Roman Reigns is starting to take a lighter schedule. Roman Reigns is looking to go on vacation soon. Don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if we do not see Cody Rhodes take the Undisputed Championship away from Roman Reigns. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this. They're gonna say to themselves, what is Roman going to do next? Roman is gonna go off. He's gonna have a beautiful vacation. He's gonna chill with his kids. He's gonna make love to his wife all night long, as he says it all the time in the ring. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be bigger than ever. And then he's going to fight The Rock if everything works out the way it's supposed to. Ashley in the chat says John Cena was the first person that made her I'm assuming fall in love with wrestling. Of course, John Cena has done that for a lot of people, but if they put the title on Cody Rhodes, where do they go from here? How do you book Cody Rhodes? We've seen how they booked Roman. Roman was the unstoppable force in WWE. He still is. He's the head of the table. He's the tribal chief. He's the one, the only, all powerful Roman Reigns. But how do you book Cody Rhodes? How do you book a man that half the people in WWE still refer to him as Stardust, and the diehard AEW fans just see him as the American Nightmare? This is a man who's going to sit there and he's going to give you promos about his American dream, Dusty Rhodes' dad, his beautiful biracial daughter, and the list can go on of the things that he's going to tell us. But is he going to have like these feuds that are going to have people interested? Lay says, I won't disrespect the title at all. It won't mean anything. Cody is not a top guy, and that comes from a lot of people. There's a lot of people in this industry here, as the fans that we are, that say that Cody Rhodes is not a top guy. Cody Rhodes is most likely a mid card guy with a top guy promo skill. I like Cody Rhodes. Do I think Cody Rhodes can fit the top guy status when it comes to being a title holder? No. I'm going to agree with Lay on this one 100% when I say this. I would love to see Seth Rollins be that top guy again. There are people in this industry here in WWE that could use that title. But WWE is going to do whatever it is that they want to do. And we're going to end up seeing Cody Rhodes become champion eventually, most likely before the summer. If we do not see Cody Rhodes become champion in the summertime, then we most likely are going to see a John Cena and Cody Rhodes feud, because it's been rumored and speculated that John Cena is supposed to be coming back next month. If John Cena shows up to WWE and we have another summer of Cena, eventually we're going to see John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Lays in the chat once again, Cody did it to himself in AEW with the whole "I won't challenge for the title," which is true. When he was in AEW, that did back him into a corner, and I kind of wondered, why did he do that? And I think it was more because of the whole EVP thing, and he wanted to be that person behind the scenes. And then it's just like everyone else. The itch got to him, and he said, "Fuck." I backed myself into a corner that I can't get out of. He tried to work his way with the fans, and that didn't go as well as he wanted to. Because you notice in Cody's promos that he's doing now in WWE is not anything different than he did in AEW. The only difference is that he's not getting booed. He's getting cheered in WWE. He's not getting booed there like he was in AEW. So he can cut these patriotic promos, and they're going to eat it up. WWE Universe audience right now is so what is the word I'm trying to think here? I'm I'm gonna say fogged in the Codyverse, that no matter what this man tells you right now, you're going to believe it. No matter what this man tells you right now, you are going to eat it up every time. If you listen to Cody Rhodes' music right now, it does not make even sense for him to have this music in WWE. They took it all away. I gave it all away to get my freedom. Freedom from what? They couldn't take my name, but you coming in as Cody Rhodes. They gave you your freedom and you went to go start another company. Well, help build another company. But now you came back to the one place where they took everything away from you and um took your name and whatever else they, you're saying in your lyrics of your song that, you know, that they did to you. Dave in the chat, Cody Rhodes used people to get where he's at right now. I don't really think he used people to get where he was, because when he left, one thing Cody did, and it was really smart, was, and if you look at it now, and in pro wrestling, there's another guy out there right now who's actually friends with Cody Rhodes that's doing the exact same thing that Cody did when he got released from WWE. Is that he went to every single promotion that he could, and he made sure to be that guy that they talked about in that company. He went to NWA. They talked about him there. He went to Impact Wrestling. They talked about him there. I believe he went to New Japan. They talked a little bit about him there. And then he started working with the Young Bucks. He went to ROH. They talked about him there. He did a whole bunch of different promotional tours with different companies. They talked about him there. He won titles in multiple places. He took Brandy on the road with him. And then they helped start AEW. He got his, he started picking up, generating his name. He made his stock go up to get that money that he wanted, because you cannot tell me that the only reason why you left AEW was because of creative differences or whatever it is between him and Tony Khan, and and WWE had like this whole slew of money to give to you and say, this is what we can offer you. Take it or leave it. Excuse me. Dave, he made sure to be that guy and use the Bullet Club fame to escalate everything. Now, I know when Cody Rhodes was in the Bullet Club, he played like those roles and stuff like that. He played a big role and he had that feud with Kenny and everything else. But I think it was more of what he brung to the table that a lot of people actually enjoyed about Cody Rhodes in the independents, because he just tried to be that badass American hero that he just so desperately wants to be. Cody Rhodes does not want to be a heel, Dave. Cody Rhodes wants to be that guy that everybody loves, with a little bit of we can't stand him, but we don't know whether or not we want to cheer or boo him, if that makes any sense. But he was never cool. Lay says he was never cool. He never fit the club. Which I have to agree with Lay, because when I heard that Cody Rhodes had joined the Bullet Club, that threw me off. Especially if you know anything about the Bullet Club itself. Hell, if Cody fit that build of the Bullet Club, they would have done something with him now when you have AJ Styles and Finn Balor in WWE. He could have been helping out AJ and Finn. ROH footage of him being a heel says otherwise to me. This is why you have, in my opinion, with Dave every single Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Pacific time, where we can sit there and have these debates. But I really didn't like Cody's run in ROH. I guess that's just my opinion on that one. I don't have anything else to talk about unless we have some more stuff to say in the chat. But I want to see what happens as the months go on with Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he's going to be fighting Seth Rollins once again in Money in the Bank. Hell in a Cell. Luke is in the house. Cody is the man. People need to give him his flowers. No, don't get me wrong. I think Cody Rhodes is the man. I think what he's doing now in WWE and trying to establish himself is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. What's good, brother? What is going on, Clark from the Street Wrestling Podcast? But I just want to see what Cody Rhodes is going to do in WWE. You know, and if they put the belt on him, where does he go from here? I don't want to hear the same patriotic stuff over and over again. And Luke, you have to agree with me on that one at least. Who's who do you put in front of Cody Rhodes after he faces Roman Reigns? Because you can't run the same. Hopefully, I'm hoping Cody dethrones Roman. I really think they are gonna have Cody Rhodes dethrone Roman Reigns, right? But like I'm saying now, is who do you put in front of him because you don't want to run the same exact storylines that you did with Roman Reigns. So now you have somebody like Cody Rhodes who's going to be champion. Do you put Kevin Owens in front of him? If you do, how does this play out? Do you put John? You can't put John Cena in front of him because then it's just going back to the whole Roman Reigns storyline. You have to do something new. You have to give him people that we have not seen. And there's a handful of people in WWE right now that you could put in front of him to make a good storyline. You have Randy Orton, you have Matt Riddle, you have Mustafa Ali, you have Ricochet. Shit, you even have Happy Corbin. You have Drew McIntyre. The list goes on of people that you could possibly put in front of him and actually have really good storylines with. Luke goes and he says, that's the issue with WWE. Their star power is hurting. So the same people Roman beat, Cody will go through the same list, which is true. But do you really think, Luke, and I want to get your honest opinion on this, do you really think that if WWE was to hit that glass and bring in Brock Lesnar, that Cody Rhodes could beat Brock Lesnar in a match? I'll wait for your answer and I'll continue on. Um, I can see them having a really good feud between him and Kevin Owens, obviously because they have history. As much as I want to see Cody Rhodes and John Cena, I don't think that that's going to be a really big payoff, especially for a title run, because we already know that John Cena won't win the title. Dominic Mysterio should be the one to the throw. You know what, Dave? Dave. I'm gonna see you in about an hour. Okay. And we're gonna talk about that when I see you one on one. See, and Luke, you even said it's like, oh, I didn't. That's a big one. I didn't see Lesnar losing to Cody, and that's true because like in order for Brock Lesnar to lose to Cody Rhodes, you have to put a really big pile of money in front of Brock Lesnar and say, this is what we can offer you. And even though that when Brock Lesnar came into WWE back in when he came last year for SummerSlam, and he even said it in different interviews that he's there, he was there just to have fun. He's having a really good time and he's gonna go on for as long as he can. They're gonna have to offer this man a lot of money in order to pull off a job like that. But you can see Cody Rhodes being John Cena. I can see that too. I just don't. The storyline itself has to be really good because we all know the end result is going to be that John Cena is going to lose. If Triple H was healthy, now see that is something that I would have loved to see. And I know that Triple H has said before, because Luke was saying that if Triple H was healthy, he would love to see Cody Rhodes versus Triple H. Um, Triple H did say that he had plans for this past WrestleMania. I'm most likely in my heart for sure that if Triple H would have been healthy, I think that that match that we had with Seth Rollins would have never happened. It would have been more with Triple H versus Cody Rhodes. That would have been a really big WrestleMania moment for everyone because now all the cheap jabs that these two have been throwing at each other in different segments in WWE and AEW come to a close. You have these two guys in the ring, and then you're kind of wondering to yourself, what happens next? Who goes over? We can only see this now in 2K 22, and we don't know how the computer is going to react on that one. If Seth could beat Brock, then Cody can too. I need to know. I need you to explain this to me and give me some type of way that Cody could beat Brock Lesnar, especially Cowboy Brock Lesnar, unless you're going to cheat. Because a lot of the time that Seth Rollins beat Brock Lesnar, a lot of the time wasn't clean. He had to give him a low blow. He had to do something that was going to give him the upper advantage, you know. And we've seen that a lot more with a lot of the opponents that Brock Lesnar faced. So that even tells me that like you can't even beat Brock Lesnar straight up, you know. Um, but hey, you never know. I mean, we're saying Brock's name, so it could happen. Keep Cody and Lesnar away from each other. Um, Luke, eventually we're gonna get that Cody and Brock Lesnar match. I'm so sorry. I'm just hoping that when Cody and Brock meet each other, that it doesn't end up like the way Cena and Brock when they met each other at SummerSlam, and he just kept suplexing him, and suplexing him all the way until he couldn't anymore, and you just kind of just sat there like Adrian in a Rocky movie screaming, or like Apollo Creed's wife in Rocky and just wanted to throw in the towel because I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar's gonna end up hurting Cody Rhodes, you know. Um, but yeah, we're for like 41 minutes in here. I thought I was only gonna do maybe like 30, maybe 25, 30 minutes of this, but I'm glad a couple of people jumped into the chat. You guys had some questions. You guys had a little bit of debate. I will be back here at 8 o'clock. I just wanted to throw out the conversations with Kenny at 6 o'clock because I didn't get to do it last week because I was leaving to go to Vegas. I am back now. I am doing more content throughout the week. I was on Instagram earlier today doing an unboxing. You can catch me on TikTok as well, talking about wrestling, talking about sports. Conversations with Kenny every single Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We throw a little bit of topics out there. We get a little conversation going. Here comes Luke again. He said, I could see that Cody having the same storyline Lesnar had with AJ Styles and Brian. Oh, that is a really good thought because that was a good couple of matches that Lesnar and AJ had and Brian. So I can definitely see them trying to um turn into that direction, if you will. But yes, I will be back at 8 o'clock with Dave from the Pro Show. We will be watching AEW Dynamite and talking a little bit more about Cody Rhodes and what is there for him to do in WWE once he gets the title. Like I said, every Wednesday, 6 o'clock, God willing, I will be here for as long as you guys will have me here. You guys want to sit here and have conversations with me. If you're not following the page on Instagram, please do so at the Call Up Podcast every Monday, 7:30. You can catch me here with Toe and Show as we do Monday Night Raw watch-alongs. Thursday nights, 9 o'clock. You can most likely catch me in the chats or in the screen with the guys over at the Knuckleheads Network. They have shows every single day. Guys, until next time, be safe. Thank you for stopping in and have